because oftentimes in life our experiences don't meet our expectations sometimes. So can you just kind of take us back to that moment and just like that experience?
Certainly, there was actually two ultrasounds. The one you might be speaking of is where the technician going moving the wand just kept referring to the heart and the face, and my husband's like, "You don't see the legs, do you?" And he said no. That right there just almost stopped my heart. We just looked at each other really in absolute shock, devastated, absolutely devastated. And then the other ultrasound that we went for that was high in density, where I was in a room full of doctors and students because it was a teaching hospital, and the big screen was before us, and we were in there for a really long time. They were talking medical terms that made no sense to us, and quietly sobbing. I'm quietly sobbing because it doesn't sound good. Finally, they bring us into a room and they tell us just all these horrible things. They're just horrible. He would have a cleft palate. His organs wouldn't work. He had no genitalia. In my mind, I'm going like, how could he still even be alive? And then they had referred to him as an it. So they kept saying it doesn't have, it could atrophy in the womb. It was unfathomable. Like I even tried to like picture like what a baby would look like from their description, and I just couldn't. It was absolutely heartbreaking. We literally ran out of there. My husband and I, we just ran out of there. Like, the information was so much to take in, and I didn't want to be in this room with all these people looking at me. It was beyond uncomfortable. They gave us no hope whatsoever. There was no compassion in the way they delivered the news, which I was later on really quite surprised. It was very clinical. So we left there utterly devastated, and then you couldn't wrap your mind around what you were told.
Mm.
Yeah, and for for the uninitiated, fill us in on Nick's diagnosis. What was it officially? And then
Hand-heart syndrome, I think it's called, right?
Right.
Oromandibular hypogenesis syndrome.
Okay.
So, in short, hand-heart type 2.
Along the lines of, okay, so you're there, right? You get this diagnosis, and then you and your husband, your family have to decide how you're going to move forward. How are you going to chart this course? And I kind of hinted at that
Modern society.
In modern society, there's even discussions with some people where they say, you know what, I don't know if I'm up for it. I don't know if this child's up for it, and they end up, deciding.
Oh, okay. So
so basically, what?
Be
how?
transparent.
Like,
you're talking
yeah,
about
of course,
terminating the pregnancy.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
finding the courage, right, and then also giving him a chance to survive, and like I was just teeing that up a little bit.
Okay,
So.
not a problem. So just this all occurred 6 weeks before Nick was born. Okay, so if there was no window of opportunity, if that was the direction we were thinking of going, because he was 6 weeks later, he was born. That's pretty basically I believe a full term pregnancy. So I'm carrying Nick. Now, mind you, he didn't kick or move like my other children did. Okay, there was a noticeable difference. It hurt less. Um, but no, that was not a direction that we would go in.
Of course.
I'm a Christian. Not that I don't believe that that's okay for certain situations. I'm not pro anything. I'm just pro Stacey. Okay.
Yeah.
So it basically it was about me and not what the world would think of me.
Yeah.
But he was moving. Okay. And I was totally 100% in love with this baby already. Okay. And he was ours. He was mine. And no, that wasn't an option. Okay.
What were some of the
thought, but not an option.
Some of the conversations, like who did you consult with during this process? Was it very much internal with you and Michael, or were there other people in your corner that you had just like being a support system for you? Because maybe if you had whispering in your ear, like, did you just avoid some of those people? Like, how did you, like, those 6 weeks were probably a long 6 weeks, possibly, I'd assume, but like
sure. It was long in waiting, because everything was unknown. And then it wasn't long because, like, oh my God, in this time, our life is going to change drastically. Now, we told Michael's parents, my parents, and just my husband has 5 sisters and a brother. We just told a couple and 1 or 2 of our friends and nobody else, not even our children. It's funny. I almost ended up being the support system for those around me versus them supporting me. People do not, what do you say in a situation like that? What do you even to say? No one's going to tell me it's going to be okay because we have proof that it isn't. I think our family was just as devastated as we were, but I just refused to stay in that state of mind. Like, it was horrible and it was bad, and I cried and I was hysterical. But through 6 weeks, I prayed constantly. I always in a state of prayer, okay, please God, please. Like, I think if I said please to him one more time, he would have been like, stop. So constantly praying. Like, what more could you possibly do? I had to absolutely rely on my faith, because I really think if I didn't, I would have lost my mind.